Fracturefilez, Mr. Potter in the house. We are going live. Bear with us, guys. Readjustments will be taking place right. Marky, how you doing, mate?
I'm very, very good, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very glad to see you. It's been ages. It's really nice to see you, Mark. You're looking very, very well.
Yes, training hard. Got a comeback fight 2 weeks on Friday.
Should we start there? Talk about your comeback fight, please.
Right. Well, I've been retired. Obviously, I retired from MMA probably about 6 years ago now. Probably longer now, 7 years ago. I came out of retirement about 3 years ago. I've done a boxing match, and then literally went back into retirement. I was refereeing in February, and a disgruntled cornerman decided to take a pot shot at me and hit me whilst I was refereeing.
Oh my God!
I don't really want to talk too much. I don't want to glamorise the guy because I think he's a bit of a low life.
Yeah. No, we talked about this earlier. We'll just move on from that. But it's part of the job, isn't it? I mean, a lot of referees do get stick in the middle of the fights, don't they?
Of course, yeah. I mean, they can't take criticism. They can't take how I reacted to the incident. And cut a long story short, it's sort of snowballed into a boxing match. He wants to do this in public, in front of everyone.
For those guys that don't know, Mark, would you just start from when did you get into boxing?
Right, I did karate for about 3-4 years. I was actually about 3 weeks away from the black belt grading, and I went on a course in a martial arts course in Butlins.
Butlins?
Yeah,
Butlins, that's a good start, isn't it?
I learned more in Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu in the space of 1 week than I did in doing 3.5 to 4 years of Shotokan karate. So I never stopping doing anything at all. I had a fight at school, I was so out of breath. One of my pals said it's in the boxing club, and I went down there. And
how old were you at this time?
I was 13 years old.
13 years old, 13. So you've done a variety of martial arts and you preferred to stick to the boxing?
Yes.
Was you a big 14-year-old? I mean, you're a heavyweight, you've always been an heavyweight. Talk to us, how was you when you started?
I was a fat kid. Yeah, basically.
Well, like lazy fat or just...
Yes, lazy. I mean, no, I was into sports. I was working at sports at school.
You're just a chubby checker, were you?
But you moved. I just like my food. You know, if entering the fridge was a competition, then I would have got gold medal. Yeah, the fridge was my nemesis.
So 13 years old you started. When was your first amateur performance?
My first amateur fight was 16 years old. I literally spent 2-3 years doing absolutely nothing apart from getting my face bashed in. And then it dawned on me, maybe I should start doing a bit of running and start actually committing myself. And yeah, I started.
How did the amateur fight begin? I mean, did it go well for you, your first bouts?
No, my first four amateur fights as a junior. I was a fat kid, so I was naturally about 14.5 stone. I was about 5'8", and I could not find anyone that weight to fight me at 16. So I had to boil myself down to light heavyweight, which was 12.5 stone. And my dad, who was fantastic with nutrition, was a bodybuilder, was a fantastic.
Your dad's always been into sports and bodybuilding, a nutritionist, a very, very high level one. He helped you out at this time?
He used to tell me, I've got to eat this and I've got to eat this and I've got to eat this, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I used to go down to the sauna and spend an hour shadowboxing in the sauna 3-4 nights a week just to try and make light heavyweight. And I couldn't work out why, you know, after the first round I was absolutely blowing out my bum, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard at that age to have that much weight and then going for a long couple of rounds. Only yourself can know how much stress it was. What happened in your early 20s? How did it go on?
Early 20s, well, I went on to a stream. I had 9 fights as a senior at super heavyweight. I jumped straight from light heavyweight to super heavyweight. Wow. And I went on this unbeaten run.
So this is when you're 20?
This was, I was 19, 20. So
19, 20, 21. You jumped from heavyweight to super heavyweight?
Yes.
Right, tell us about that, please.
Yeah, I jumped straight up and I went a stream of knockouts, all the early ones. got a bit of a reputation for myself for being a body puncher.
Yes, you've got more than that reputation, Mark. We know that reputation.
Well, I'll come to the reason I'm a body puncher later on. But I literally went full steam ahead, knocking everyone out as a super heavyweight, and then what happened was I had damaged my knee. I was out for about 6-7 months. Come back. I had one fight against he was the current Essex super heavyweight.
Let me just ask you one day, Mark. How did you occur the knee injury? What happened with your knee injury that put you out for 6 months? What happened? Tell us about the injury.
I was playing football, and
football. What happened?
Yeah, and I twisted my knee, kneecap popped off.
Ouch.
And that was the end of that. But I actually done that again when I was 25, and I
was reoccurred the same injury, was it? Same leg, same knee?
Same knee, same knee.
Ouch.
And never learnt my lesson. Went back and played football again and done it again. Is that same thing? Was that even?
What was the time period in the first injury and the second injury on the knee? Was it within the year?
No, we're talking about 5 years.
Oh my days, that would have been a push.
That's the reason I've got a 9-inch scar down my kneecap.
Oh God, did they do surgery on it and get it treated?
Yeah, bad surgery. I woke up with a plaster cast from top of my...
How long ago was this surgery done?
That was 15, no, we're talking 18 years ago now.
And after your knee injury, tell us how did you carry on with your career in boxing and sports?
I come back far too fast. I didn't rehab my leg. I come back, done an 8-rounder. I beat a guy called Michael Murray at Wembley.
Yes, you did.
Very, very good fighter.
Very good fighter.
I beat him on points, and then
went all the way to rounds.
Then they threw me in with a Russian guy called Vasiliev for the WU on the outside. That was at Wembley Conference Centre, I think. And I looked at the guy, and this was a big turning point in my career, because this gave me the mindset later on in life. So I mean, people say you learn more from a defeat than you do a win.
Yes.
And I certainly did that. I mean, I thought I'd knock this guy out in the first round. I didn't think he was fit enough to carry my gym bag. And basically, I cut corners. I didn't train. I didn't run. I didn't spar enough. And
what happened? Tell us exactly what happened.
Went out in the first round. Obviously, end of the first round, he was still there. Second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, he's still there. I'm walking back to my corner. I've lost every round. In my head, I've lost every single round. Something was still wrong. Completely despondent. I come out at the 7th round. He was hitting me with shots, and I went down on one knee. I took a knee 3 times, and the fight was over. And I retired from boxing for about 6 months. But we go back. The following morning, I sat there watching the replay on Sky, and Sky Sports had me 5 rounds up after the 6th round. But I convinced myself.
What was your corner saying at that time? Do they speak
were telling
to you?
Me, do this, do that. I can't even remember anything they were saying. It was just.
So you're in the middle of a fight that you thought you'd dominate. You've gone to 5, 6, 7 rounds. You feel like you're behind on points, which you wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
But in the fight, you kind of.
I wasn't fit. So I believe when you're fit, you're fit in the mind as well, and everything is clear. You feel confident in your mind, you feel confident in your body, and you keep going and going and going. But in this fight, there was nothing in the tank, and I actually retired. And I actually retired straight after the fight for 6 months.
You retired straight after this fight, for 6 months.
And then I regrouped, started back from scratch, and I went with a guy called Tony Sims, who was a fantastic trainer. Working with Anthony Joshua for the first 2 years of his career.
Okay.
And he's still involved. He's a very, very good trainer. He's probably one of the most unsung trainers out there. He's a technically gifted trainer. And,
I've heard of him. The team, I think it's Evolve Gym up in Ruislip. That's where they're based. They're very, very, very high-level sports athlete and coaches and physicians. You're right, they're very popular and they deal with very top-level boxers. So you've been involved with these people. You've had teams like this with you. Mark, I need to ask you something. When you fight, you mentioned that you believed you were behind on points on certain rounds. Do you do this often in most of your fights? Do you judge your fights? I mean, you're in the middle of your fight. What happened?
This was the first time, and the last time it's
because this isn't you. I know this is not you. You don't really.
No.
That day it was a different Mark, was it?
I normally blank out, and you kind of go onto an autopilot. And I mean, my mindset now is a completely different animal, and it has been since since I had to retire from my detached retina from professional boxing when I was 30, I then went on the unlicensed boxing scene for God knows how many years before I went into MMA. And my whole mindset changed. I started doing positive things, having positive people around me, and it makes a huge difference. When you've got people being negative, telling you negative
Definitely does, yes.
telling you you can't do this, you can't do that, you start to believe them. When you've got people around you telling you, you know what,
positive,
you can do whatever you
motivating you, inspiring you, it builds up your spirit, it motivates you to train harder, and in a way you kind of start believing in yourself again.
Exactly.
I remember the confident Mark I met once. You were dominating the whole heavyweight scene. I mean, we were struggling in finding you a good fight, and you had to switch to MMA for that reason, right? Why did you enter the MMA trade, Mark? From boxing you jumped into MMA, which is much more dangerous.
The very first person who talked to me about MMA was Michael Pastel, who was with the UCMA, he was the UCMA champion at the time, and he come down the boxing gym to do some pad work, and Michael was a crazy guy. He was a lot lighter than me, and he said to me, "Can you do me a favour, can you spar with me?" And I said, "Well, not really." He said, "No, I just need you to do one thing." I said, "What's that?" "I want you to hit me properly." And I said, "I can't do that." And he went, "No, please, I really want you to do it." So, you know, I put the gloves on, and I'm sort of tapping him, and he went, "No, I really want you to hit me hard, like I've never been hit before." And as he finished the sentence, I opened for a right hand, I spun him round, he hit the ropes, he bounced off the ropes, and being typical Michael Pastel, he shook his head and he growled at me. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. So you gave him a right bash, he goes flying off to the ropes, and he comes back saying, "No, that's what I'm talking about." Maybe he needed a sparring partner a bit more of your level.
He was certainly a character, and he was training at Titans at the time.
Yes, Titans, very famous gym.
Yeah, great group of lads down there, and yeah, I ended up talking to Alan Mortlock about 3 weeks later, and he said to me, "Why don't you go into the cage?" And I said, "I'm not really sure if I want to fight anymore, Alan." And he said, "I tell you what, we can do a show in Brentwood. We'll pay you $3 grand. You haven't got to sell a ticket." Because that's what I was fed up with doing, was selling tickets. And he went, "We'll just give you $3 grand. You can do an MMA fight, and that'd be the end of that." And I'd done about 6 weeks of groundwork. I carried on sparring and boxing and hitting the bag and hitting the pads and sparring and doing my norm. And I knocked the guy out in about 20 odd seconds. He come at me.
20 seconds?
He come at me with a double leg takedown, and I sort of spun him in the air, landed straight into the mount. I stuck my knees under his armpits and just pounded away. And I kind of got the biggest buzz I've ever got in my life, and that wasn't from boxing, and that was from the cage. And suddenly,
did you enjoy that experience?
Suddenly, I was addicted. I was addicted to the cage. And I just
you look very comfortable going in there. I've seen a lot of wrestlers. I've seen a lot of people from different backgrounds, especially like wrestlers and boxers, and they have a very orthodox approach. Mark, every time I see you enter or have a fight in the cage, you look like you belong there. You look like you knew what you was there to do.
Well,
it suited you. Unfortunately, the MMA era wasn't ready for you. I think you were ready well before the MMA scene in the UK. So if you had been approached time ago, or a little bit before you had a chance to get into the MMA scene, I think really you would have had a very, very, very successful and long career in the MMA.
I think
very long.
I think it would have been UFC or Bellator. Or
you would definitely have been on Bellator. You would have been on the scorecards of Bellator, maybe even a champion. You never know. But you know, it's never too late. What's the future now? What's the future plan for Mark Park? You've got a fight coming up in 2 weeks in the York Hall against an opponent, heavyweight division. Are you staying in heavyweight still?
Yeah, it's my heavyweight. I'm currently weighing 17 stone 10. 17
stone 10.
Yeah, I've
boom. How's your diet?
Brought my fat butt down from 18 stone 10 down. Just simply because I've suddenly left the deadlifting alone and the squatting alone, and I've concentrated on my cardio. I've sparred 82 rounds so far. I've got to spar
82 rounds.
Pinnacle sparring will be tomorrow, which will be 12 rounds tomorrow with 2 guys. And then next week I've got 4 days of sparring, which should all be 8 rounders. And then the week after I'll be easing myself down for the 26th of July at York Hall.
Yes, we will be there. We'll be rooting for you, Mark. We're going to be up in your corner. We wish you all the best, and it's going to be an amazing event because you're looking absolutely smacking, mate. I've known you for a very long time, and you're looking younger and sharper every time I see you. Can we talk about your training schedule right now? What training? How many days? How are you training? Let's talk. Are you on a boot camp program? What kind of schedule are you doing?
Well, everyone who knows me in the gym every single day anyway. I have clients as well.
So you're coaching alongside training as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I literally get up. I mean, this morning I was up at 4 to eat. I was in the gym at 5:10. I was hitting a punch bag. I did 20 minutes on the punch bag non-stop at a great pace, and then straight out for a 2-mile run, which was only 16 minutes and 36 seconds. Come back, done some core work, got myself changed, took a couple of guys on the pads, and then back to the food, and then.
How many days a week are you doing this, Mark? This schedule?
6 days a week.
6 days a week. Wow. And when you come up to the fight, as in you've got 14 days left, will you train all up to the last very day? How does your training work to the last week or the fight night?
I will train like a demon next week, and then the following week I'll sort of taper it down. On the Monday I'll go in and do a little bit of shadow boxing, some stomach work. I might even do a little mild jog. But pretty much about it. There was I base this on if you train hard enough for 8, 9, 10 weeks, this 1 week all you're going to do is build your strength reserves. As long as you watch your carbs and you don't, if you're making weight as a middleweight, as a light middleweight, obviously you've got to watch your carbs because you're not putting out the calories that you normally do when you're training. But I always base my theory on a guy called Roger Bannister who broke the 4-minute mile.
Roger Bannister, yes, we've heard of him. Very famous. Yes, that's right.
First man to break the 4-minute mile. This was a run that nobody said could ever be done. No one can break this 4-minute mile, and he refused to carry his gym bag on the last week. He wouldn't do a stroke. He never done one thing, and he smashed the 4-minute mile. That's where I base my thesis on.
That's amazing. I mean, there's very few people that know that story, and there's a very few people that train on certain similarity. People like very rare people to get. You're also a very important coach. You're coaching right now as well as an active fighter. That's double the stress in the gym because you've got to do your own workout and you've got to monitor your students as well. How many are you doing at the moment? How many guys are you coaching at the moment?
I've got 2 guys who are fighters.
2 active fighters you're coaching?
Yeah, 2 active fighters.
Brilliant.
1 cage, 1 boxer.
1 cage fighter, 1 boxer. They're both under you. You're coaching them both, and you're also having a fight yourself. So that's quite a busy schedule. It
puts it on you. But I'm lucky that I've got a wife that understands exactly what I'm doing, and also, I mean, she's a personal trainer as well. She's also a nutritionist. She's doing a master's course in nutrition.
That is just so convenient. And by the way, congratulations, Mark. On your marriage and your wedding, and it's nice that you've actually met someone that you can actually share your your passion with.
Do you know what?
It's nice.
I've kissed a few frogs in my time.
Frogs.
Princess. You know, I've made a few wrong. I've never had a sat nav, so I made a few wrong turns to finally make.
No, congratulations! I'm really happy for you. You make a lovely couple, and Mrs. Potter, if you're watching, congratulations. You've done well. You've done very well.
Yeah. Punching above your weight. I didn't say that. He did.
Who dubbed that out of there? All right, Mark. You're training. Yes. What do you do when you go in the gym? Straight. You put your kit on. What are you doing? Bags. What are you doing? Pads, running.
Shadow box.
Shadow box. How long are you shadow boxing, Mark?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes, so you're shadow boxing, getting yourself ready.
And then I like to do somewhere between 15 to 25 minutes of non-stop work on the punch bag. I don't do rounds.
Wow.
And then I'll do pad work. I've got a great pad guy called Noel Tierney who worked with me all the way through my licence.
Noel?
Boxing, Noel, yeah, from KO.
Noel, hello. Big hello to Noel. Respect that. Fracturefilez on you.
He's kind of the only guy who's been able to hold the pads for me without moaning too much. I'm fairly heavy-handed. I actually broke his ribs once with a body shield on before the button.
You broke his ribs on sparring?
Yeah, no, he had a big body shield on, and he was sort of punching me, and I was only allowed to hit him in the stomach, and yeah, I popped the rib for him. But
how did he take that?
Yeah, He had a little mumble in the mouth.
Did he take in KFC in it? Make it up to him in a bucket.
He's always in KFC.
Yeah. So when he actually took that damage, could you practice again with him the same body blows? I mean, did that?
No, the body shield come off and he had to just hold the pads, but he couldn't hold them that high because of stretching his rib up, and that was done.
For those guys that don't know about Mark's body shots, I've seen them and I've heard them on BLB. Ouch! He's got an amazing combination.
Well,
it's very dangerous, so very offensive.
I'll tell you how I come to throw body shots. At the age of I was about 14 or 15, and I bought a box of boxing videotapes at a boot sales.
Oh yeah, you lucky you, that was a treat, wasn't it?
I think I paid something stupid like £3 for the whole box.
Oh, wicked!
And I went through this box and there was loads of fights from America, and there was this one guy that kind of moulded me. His name was Julio Cesar Chavez, and I had one fight against Edwin Rosario, and I had watched this guy. Edwin Rosario was a tough Puerto Rican, and obviously there's bad blood between Mexico and Puerto Rico anyway, but he literally just systematically took this guy apart with his left hook to the body, get you through his combinations, and then after the end of the combination you throw a left hook downstairs, and it was just over and over again. It was just relentless. And I remember watching this guy and thinking, well, this is what I've got to beat. And I went down the boxing gym, and not many of the trainers would sort of half take me seriously, so I spent most of my night on the punch bag, throwing body shot after body shot after body shot, and I'd step round and throw the left hook to the body. And so I actually owe my left hook down to Julio Cesar Chavez.
Oh, he definitely rings a bell. I mean, I've definitely know what you're talking about, but your arms, your reach, they're quite long. You've got a very good reach. When you get people on the ground and come through with your ground body shots, they're like a train going into someone, or a bullet train going into someone. I mean, the speed, how did you get towards the speed as well as your power? Because a lot of heavyweights don't have the speed that you've got, Mark. You fight like a middleweight, welterweight. Your punches are very fast and strong. But how did you build your speed? How did you get your speed? Was it natural? You was always a fast? Because you was a heavy youngster, I can't imagine that Mark compared to now.
Well, I think fast, therefore I am fast. And I've always had that mentality. I've never thought of myself as a heavyweight like the likes of George Foreman, who had these big, huge loving shots.
That's right.
Must have felt like a train hitting you when he hit you.
Yes, that's
whereas compared to someone like, let's say Mike Tyson, who had this unbelievable
very
speed.
fast.
And I think there was I can't remember the fight it was who fought both fighters, and they said, you know, in terms of power, how would you compare them? And he said, being hit by George Foreman was like being hit 100 miles an hour by a Mack truck. And he said, being hit by Mike Tyson was like being hit by a Pontiac doing 150. He said, and that's the difference. You know? So I've always worked on speed. I've worked on much good speed. I've always worked on just being able to hit the target area very, very fast. And
when you were competing at a young age, what heavyweight role model boxer did you look up to? I mean, who was your main role model in boxing or in general?
I liked Nigel Benn.
Did you say Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer?
I liked Nigel. I used to love watching Nigel. I used to actually shake. I used to shake with excitement when he used to fight, because
he was electrifying. Yes.
You know, and with Nigel, even if he got hurt, you know, he'd come back absolutely swinging.
Warrior. He was an example. I mean, I know what you're talking about, Mark. I was a youngster, and I remember the battles him and Eubank had. They were very, very, very
absolutely
tense.
Incredible. I mean,
UK boxing was on another level them days, and I remember the beef between Eubank and Nigel Benn over Steve Watson, was it?
No, with Michael Watson.
Michael Watson.
A guy who I worked with to rehab the guy.
Bless him. He was, unfortunately, he was injured in the fight with Chris Eubank so hard that He suffered brain hemorrhage, was it?
A brain hemorrhage. He had to have the clot removed, and
he was left paralysed.
He was, and now he's up and walking. He's actually done the marathon. He
bless him.
For a day. I've had him down the gym doing a bit of pad work. And
really?
Stuff. Yeah, I'll show you the videos later.
Oh, that sounds really good, man. Michael Watson, he was a soldier, he was a warrior, he was a true hero, because when he stood up to Eubank them days, he was a #1 contender for him.
He actually, in the second fight, the fight where Eubank injured him, if you watch that fight, he actually scores Eubank and he absolutely annihilates him. He puts him on the floor and then he walks into a big uppercut. Just as the round's about to end, and I think the damage was done as he falls down. His neck whiplashes off the rope, and that's where I think the damage was done.
Yeah, I don't think we should put that on. It was a quite bit.
For some reason, Jimmy Tibbs went out for the 12th round. Obviously, he was a mile in front of the scorecards, and Jimmy didn't know exactly the extent of the damage, but yeah, Michael was never the same.
So you remember clearly Nigel Benn stepping up after that fight with Eubank and Watson, and he went to the hospital. It caused a bit of a story behind it, the good and the bad, and Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer, took out a revenge match for him. Do you remember that, Mark? I remember that clearly.
The fight a draw, that was at Manchester United's Old Trafford.
So that very first fight was a draw between...
No, the first fight,
Eubank won on points, right?
Won the 9th round. He stopped Ben in the 9th round.
Oh, he stopped Ben in the 9th round, that's right. Eubank took the first fight, and then the rematch happened.
And the rematch happened, Nigel went away, Nigel couldn't get a rematch, and went away to Italy to fight Mauro Galvano for the WBC title. Won that out there, made a couple of defences, and obviously they had the big unification fight at Old Trafford, and for me still now, even watching...
Oh, I remember that now, yeah.
Even watching it back now, and if I sat on the fence and watched the fight, I still believe Nigel Benn won the fight by 3-4 rounds.
Yes, I do that as well. I do that all the time. I was so heartbroken at the fact that the judges scored it incorrect to me. I mean, I couldn't tell because it was a close fight, but Nigel Benn and Eubank, they were both great boxers. I mean, it was a close match at the end, and I wasn't really surprised that it was a draw. I was struggling, but I saw Nigel...
Yeah, I think Nigel
took it by just a far 2 rounds, maybe. The first 2 rounds, Nigel was on fire. Eubank got caught. He was, I found that Nigel was a bit. But guess what? Nigel's brother, John, is in the gym in a little while. I can get to meet you. And Nigel's in Australia. He always comes down. He's always in our gym.
So I met Nigel. We have the same dentist now. Vinny Kapoor. He's.
I think all you boxers are sharing the same dentist, right?
And I saw Nigel about 3 or 4 months ago in the dentist. He followed me, funny enough, into the...
His boy is doing very well.
Connor's doing very, very good. For a guy who had limited...
Conor Benn has made a name.
He's kind of made leaps and bounds. I was a bit dubious at first. Oh, is he going to be able to do it? But once again, we go back to one of my old trainers, Tony Sims, who has Conor, and he couldn't be in better hands because Tony's a fabulous trainer.
Yes, that's right, he is. It's not like Junior Eubank, who was training with his dad and then he had a little fallout or something and he had to change his camp for a little while. But Conor has always been in a camp where he's progressed and he's been loyal and he's stayed. And Nigel trusts him.
Yeah. Nigel
trusts the camp that Conor's in. With Eubank, I know Chris personally, he's a very hard character. He's always got an opinion about everything. So I can't blame for how he's taken a bit of a role over Junior, but Junior also has a character similar to his dad, I believe. They're very similar.
They are. I think Chris Senior possibly gets involved far too much. I don't know why. She let the lad live his own boxing career, and I've heard lots of stories about him sort of being the boss rather than the trainer telling him what to do.
Yes.
But he had a fantastic win.
But his career is very, very peak as well. I mean, Junior Eubank, Chris Junior. I don't know. What do you reckon? I was thinking I'm going to get to this question mark. I'm going to just say, what do you reckon, eh? Ben versus Eubank, 2020.
What the juniors? I think the weight difference is too much. I think Connor's probably 14, 16 pounds lighter. Which
it's possible.
Is
It's possible.
It is possible.
It's very possible.
Never say never.
And I would really buy a ticket to watch that fight.
It would certainly be a money spinner, and I'm sure
that would be one of the biggest fights
I'm
since
sure
death.
Eddie Hearn has thought about that already.
Yeah. Your fight coming up in York in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's going to happen after that, because you've got a referee license as well at the moment, haven't you?
I'm referee.
So you're a slash referee as well as a